Now, today a bit more casually dressed, correct? Because we're talking about semi-retirement. And I actually wanted to do this heart-to-heart sharing with you because I was doing some basic reading and stuff, and I actually went through a bit on Jack Ma's story. Do you know this picture? This was actually his last night in Alibaba. He did a great celebration, a 20-year anniversary, and he actually announced his retirement, a widely expected retirement. So what is Jack Ma exactly doing? He's actually in this phase of semi-retirement. I realize there's not much topics talking about semi-retirement, but I actually have a lot of clients who are actually in this phase of semi-retirement. So today we're going to touch a few things. How you can actually get semi-retired if you own a business, or how you can actually be semi-retired if you're still working somewhere. And last but not least, I'll also be sharing with you, should a semi-retired be investing in shares and dabbling in shares? If this topic interests you, continue watching on. Hi guys, welcome back. Now, you can only be semi-retired in two forms. The first is if you own a business that someone is running for you and you're actually being involved very minimally. The second, if you're still employed in some form or another, but with a lot less pressure. So I think almost every category is being captured in these two main segments itself. Now, to start things with, what exactly is being semi-retired with a business in place? Now, if you look around, one of the most prominent people is of course Mr. Wee Cho Yaw. He actually stepped down from UOB a couple of years back, and of course his sons are running the bank itself. So he's in this position whereby he owns a bank and yet his sons are taking over the business. A fairy tale story I think most people would die for such a career path. But also being at 89 then becoming semi-retired is also a bit late in a lot of ways. Now, I have a lot of clients who actually own businesses and they have successors running for them. One of them owns an industrial business and one of his former key employees is actually running it for him. He's actually just as a profit taking a partner nowadays. There was a buy-sell agreement if I'm not wrong. And another client who actually owns a clothing manufacturer, and she actually has a GM running. So everything is business as usual. She's doing strategic stuff, but beyond that, the GM is running day-to-day show. And how to build a business that can be potentially self-running. So I don't have the real answers for it, but I actually do have a YouTube mentor. I don't know if you've seen his channel before, Mr. Dan Lok. I'll pull up this for you to see. This video is fantastic. This video actually captures everything that should really be heard for someone looking to build a business and fully delegating it to people running it eventually become semi-retired. A few key parts, just in case you don't have time to run through it. Firstly, you need to break down the roles. How to replace it with the right people. Create categorization of the roles. Describe the role carefully so you can hire people to run it. Then next, you need to create workflows so that people know how to run it as well as you do, or even do it better than you. And lastly, you need systems so that you can manage it while people move, people leave, people can come in. The systems are there to take over any transition. So look for the tutorial, leave links below, because if you're aspiring to run the business yourself, that tutorial will definitely help you a lot more than what I can share. Now, the second part is for people who are semi-retired and only want to earn what they spend, just don't deplete their assets before they get into full retirement. Make sense? Now, I have colleagues in my company that are actually semi-retired in that phase. They don't do a lot in terms of production, but I'm sure the amount is enough to cover for their retirement. They're not chasing the big numbers. They're not like the top 10, top 20 charts. They're doing their work. They kind of go at their pace. They have existing clients. They are not chasing new clients. I even have clients who were previously in corporate world, high-flying corporate jobs, paying big amounts, but they decided to resign, quit the job, and eventually do property agent so that time is within the control and it's not really flying all over the world, kind of a thing. So it is indeed true. In this semi-retired phase, as an employee without pressure, the main thing is not to accumulate money, or rather, if the investments can accumulate, that's fine. But it's just to earn enough to cover expenses, because the full retirement phase whereby you decumulate is down the years. Now, check this out. If you get to your age of 50 with a 500,000 savings pot and your expenses has been hovering about 3,000 per month, what you can do is to grow your 500,000 with an investment portfolio, and it grows at assuming 5% per annum for 10 years, and you eventually become about 800,000. In fact, the actual number is about 814,000. I've done before previous video on simple math for retirement, and it showed that someone at the age of 60 with pre-retirement expense of 3,000 per month, 833,000 is sufficient to last for 40 years. So check out that tutorial. I'll leave links below. Follow the tutorial, it will show you a bit better on the math. But back to the point, if you are at this situation with 500,000 savings, expenses of 3,000 per month, age of 50, you can actually seriously consider semi-retirement. Just finding an occupation that pays 3,000 per month in terms of salary, annual income 36,000, and enjoy, semi-retirement years whereby you can actually do a bit more travel, you can have less pressure at work. So this is actually an interesting scenario that I'd like to present to you. Now this leads to the next part. Why is it important to plan for semi-retirement properly? I think this topic has not been touched on sufficiently. Now, as we understand, successful aging, as I'll pull out for you to see over here, successful aging has a few key parts. Someone who is retired needs to be physically active, needs to be mentally active. Because firstly, physically, if you're not active, you're going to have increased risk of diabetes, heart attack, and stroke. I think let's not delve too far into it. But the mental part, I think, is also understated. As I look around in my company, those that are in semi-retirement phase, they enjoy having social circle. They can come for company functions, still meet their clients with an agenda, have some stress level to keep themselves active and social, meet people. Social isolation, as I would like to show you this also, is very important because if you know how to avoid it, you will avoid mental issues. You also indirectly help your own physical health itself. So avoid social isolation, and semi-retirement is a phase that can be 10 years, 20 years. For Jack Ma, he want to do 15 years of semi-retirement doing as a teacher, a kind of a freelance teacher kind of thing. The key part is if you become fully retired, you do know it's kind of a one-way ticket. Coming back to employment is very difficult because you lose out of touch. So kick that to as far as possible, 60, 60 plus. For myself, I'm hoping maybe I'm fully retired only after 60. Semi-retirement can be the 10 years before that. That would be fantastic as a planning itself. So I'll leave this question to you. When do you want to start your semi-retirement phase? Leave your comments in the sections below. I'd like to hear from you also. And as we understand, getting to retirement is nice, but semi-retirement is a crucial phase. You should plan it properly. If your current employment is taking too much of your time, you are away from your family too much, you are unable to enjoy life too much, then consider, should you step down to enjoy this semi-retirement phase, whereby you can still be employed, you can still eke out a lot of benefits, and yet, avoid all the financial stress related to retirement itself. Now, if you have benefited from this discussion, smash the like button so more people can see valuable content like this. And again, inviting you to press on subscribe because I'll be launching a video very soon on how to die with $0 in retirement. I actually adopted this concept for a few prominent people. I'll leave that video in future to really explain the whole topic for you. So again, subscribe so you get notified when it's released. Now, the last part I'd like to touch on, which is also very important and a common question that I get from private clients, is should they be dabbling into share, learning, share investing at that point in time, a good idea or not? My answer actually is quite direct. For someone who has a career in banking, been doing investing all the while, of course it's okay. You have more time to do share research. I have an uncle actually, he goes down to AGMs very often. I mean, COVID period, no more AGMs. But in previous years, he was always actively going down to try to find out details, try to network also. And it's okay if you are already successfully investing. But the key part is this, if you are not good with investing, picking up investing now is not a good idea in a lot of ways. The first thing that you need to understand is investing is a learning process. There's bound to be mistakes, correct? That mistake being made in 20s, 30s is okay. You have a lot of time to recover. But when you're semi-retired, that pot of money is meant for retirement. If you deplete it because of mistakes, it may not be such a good idea. It's also in line with you should not be taking leverage in your semi-retirement phase or trying to cut down on leverage, try paying off as you approach retirement. Or if you are already in retirement, then taking on leverage is definitely a no-no thing. Because if you make a mistake, you are going to deplete your pot and you have very little chance to recruit that amount in. So hopefully that answers the question. If you are in semi-retirement phase, possibly engage someone. If you're keen, look for my contacts below. I actually run investment portfolios, do a full retirement plan for semi-retirement people. So with that, I'll sign off. Leave your comments also in the comment sections. I'll see you in a future video. Take care and goodbye.